Next tonight, pupils are returning to class in schools across our region this week. But whilst there's been a lot of talk about how they will be kept safe when they're there, much less has been said about how kids will get to school. And with a sudden surge in demand expected on public transport across the region, our reporter Lise McNally has been finding out how the authorities plan to keep people safe and socially distanced.
The journey back to the classroom has been a long one. But this week, thousands of families will restart the school run. And for some, public transport is the only way forward.
I'm a single mum to two teenage boys. They are 15 and 12. I had a big long email from the head teacher actually today. They said children shouldn't use public transport unless absolutely essential. Well, you know, I don't really have a lot of choice in that. The train is just 2 carriages and it's really very overcrowded. How they're going to socially distance on that train when, you know, ordinarily they are sort of rammed in like sardines. I don't know. That is my biggest concern.
That's a worry likely to be shared by many as September brings a sudden surge in demand on our buses, trams, coaches and trains. Pupils will have to learn the new school rules over social distancing. But what are they? Well, on public transport, it's business as usual. Face masks are mandatory for those 11 and over, and you should try to stay at least 1 metre away from those outside your social bubble throughout your journey. But if you're boarding a dedicated school bus, things get a bit more fluid. It's all about what's possible and what's practicable. So good ventilation and extra cleaning on board, and children are being asked to sit according to their bubble, usually their class or year group. As for face masks, well, it's not a legal requirement, but the government says those 11 and up should be advised to wear one, especially if they're coming into close contact with those they don't normally meet.
Our message to children is quite simple really. It's please wear your face mask, stay in the same seat, try to use the same seat daily and just be a little bit more patient in terms of boarding and disembarking. But in terms of implementing the rules, we've got no authority in implementing the policies and the procedures that the government has set in place. We can only advise the passenger to wear a mask. We can't stop the vehicle and refuse them travel, you know, and it's just building that relationship and educating them to how we want them to behave on our vehicle as well.
However people get to school or work, this new month will bring new challenges. And Transport for Greater Manchester says everyone can play their part in keeping the network safe.
Particularly with schools, we know that obviously demand for service is going to be busy in that sort of 8 to 9 period and again in the afternoon. So it's for people that might be otherwise commuting to try and move their journey to another time, or perhaps try cycling or walking or using a different means of travel.
Walking and cycling won't be possible for everybody. What's your advice to parents who may be feeling worried about putting their children back on the transport network?
I can identify with that. I think it's understandable to be worried. I think there's a great deal of effort gone into make sure that things are really as safe as possible with the extra services that we're providing, particularly for bus services. But it will be a challenging period, and particularly perhaps the first few days when things bed down, we'll be reviewing that day by day and obviously making tweaks to bus services, for example, with operators if necessary.
So however the North West school children return to the classroom, it seems the new term will be a lesson for everyone as we learn to share our public spaces at a time where space is still the ticket to safety. Lise McNally, ITV News.